Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. I was doing a session recently with a client, and she expressed to me that she doesn't think her husband finds her sexy anymore. And so I had to find out more about this because um, sometimes that's an assumption that we make based on their behavior and our interpretation of their behavior. And so it may or may not be based in reality. So we really need to, dig a little bit deeper to find out, like, is this true? And if it's true, how do you then behave around that person, right? So it's like a, what came first kind of scenario, right? Because if she believes it to be true that her husband doesn't find her sexy anymore, then she's more likely to withdraw. She's less likely to feel sexy herself. And so even if they were in the mood or whatever, it would be that much harder to engage and initiate and be open to and be vulnerable in that way. So we really need to stop making assumptions, first of all. And then we need to get a lot more curious about what's going on for the other person. Because we've all seen those memes where they have like the husband and wife lying in bed next to each other, and the thought bubble over the woman's head is like, oh, he's thinking about another woman. And then the thought bubble over his head is, oh, like, I've got this going on and that going on, or this going on, or, like, oh, I wonder if I'll reach the 11th stage of my game or something. You know what I mean? Like, so we assume a lot of times that our partner's not attracted to us anymore, that they don't find us sexy. But when we dig deeper, what I tend to find with a lot of my clients is that they don't feel sexy anymore. And it just, what came first? I don't know, right? But when you don't feel sexy, you're not embodying that energy. You're not giving off that kind of energy. And maybe your partner doesn't find you sexy because you've shut off a part of yourself, and you've lost some of your vitality, right? So it's like, and that could be because of things that have happened in the relationship. So I'm not trying to blame you as the person who feels like your partner doesn't think you're sexy. That's not my intention at all. What I really want to stress to people is that your sexiness shouldn't hinge on whether another person finds you sexy or not. That's really what I want to say. Like, when we boil it all down, yeah, obviously I want my husband to think that I'm sexy. It's important that, in my mind, that he feel like that he thinks that I'm sexy. In his eyes, I'm sexy. Obviously, that's integral to our chemistry and our attraction. At the same time, I know that there have been times in our relationship where Donnie has totally thought that I was sexy, and I did not feel sexy at all. And so if you'd asked me at that point in my life if Donnie thought I was sexy, I would have probably said, yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure he does. And then if you'd asked me, well, do you think you're sexy? My answer would have just been a very emphatic no, right? Just no. And some of it has had to do with weight gain, but not always. Like, so the thing is that if we take ownership of our own sexuality, and the other person, for whatever reason, withdraws from us in that way and is no longer connecting with us sexually, and we get a vibe from them that they're not sexually attracted to us, we could still know that we're still sexy. Do you know what I mean? Like, that I can know my sexiness is not tied to whether Donnie thinks I'm sexy or not. So if for some reason he were to not think that I'm sexy tomorrow, I would still know that I'm sexy. And I think that that's a lot of what comes up when people have been cheated on. There's that feeling of like they don't think that I'm sexy anymore, so they went to be with someone else, when the reality is that might have had nothing to do with whether they think you're sexy or not. Do you know what I mean? Or your sexiness. Because your sexiness is innate. Your sexuality, your sexual health is yours to, to feed and to grow and to nourish and to embody and enjoy. And if you're choosing to share that with someone else, then yeah, it would be really, really great if they think you're sexy. Otherwise, what's the point? But if you have gotten to a point in your relationship where you believe that your partner no longer thinks that you're sexy, then it's time for some really serious conversations. And when I talk to people in sessions about that, like how are you going to approach your partner to have these conversations, that's usually where a lot of the stuckness comes up for them, because they have to get really vulnerable and they're putting a lot of their heart on the line, even more so than maybe they had already, because now they're expressing to their partner, I feel like you don't think that I'm sexy. And that's really hard, because then if the answer is, yeah, you're right, I don't, that's a hard pill to swallow. But those conversations have to happen. Otherwise, why are you staying in the relationship? If you truly believe, and then it's confirmed by them that they don't find you sexy anymore, then that should be your answer, right? But if you truly believe that they no longer find you sexy, then why are you still there? Why wouldn't you take your sexy self, because you know you're sexy, you know deep down inside of you, why wouldn't you take that sexy self and go find someone who finds you sexy, who finds you, kind and funny and whatever, like all of the things that you think about yourself? Sexiness should be in there, whatever that looks like for you, right? So we all know, we've all met people who sort of exude sensuality, and they're very, they're just, you can sense that they're just really embodied. They're very comfortable in their own skin, and that is sexy. There's just a confidence about them. And then, and so, sometimes it's really apparent, but then other people, like, I don't know that other people would look at me and necessarily think that's a woman who thinks that she's sexy. And the reason I say this is because I'm a pretty quiet and reserved person when I'm out in the world, and I don't necessarily feel like I exude sexiness. However, there's a big part of me that knows that I'm sexy. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to be sexy to every man or woman out there. Like, I'm not going to be sexy to everyone. I'm going to be sexy to a select few. But it doesn't matter, right? Because I know that even without a partner, I could still feel this way about myself. And that's where I want to help you get to, right? So if you feel like you need some help, and you're in that place of just feeling really maybe uncomfortable in your own body, maybe you feel like your partner doesn't find you attractive anymore or sexy, and you want to feel sexy in your own skin, that's where I can really help. So please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.